Hello, and a warm welcome to our weekly show, Love Athletics. In this program, we bring you the latest highlights from our sport with expert input from different continental areas. And we're delighted to have as our guest today Colombian journalist Konnye Mora Pedraza. Hello, Konnye. Lovely to see you, and a big thank you for joining us.
And hello to you, and a big thank you to be here. I'm very, very happy to share this time with you and with everyone that is watching us now.
Konnye, first of all, I'd like to ask you how you started your involvement in sport.
Well, and that was like more than 20 years ago here in Colombia. Basically, I started my career as a promoter and locution in sports. That was a very short career here in my country, so it was only like 2 years. But after that, I decided to continue until I got into university to do journalism. And in the meantime, I started to do my practice time. And suddenly I got in touch with someone related with the sports. And that person took me to a radio station. And I started over there really actually with football, which is the most important sport here in Colombia and I think in the whole South America. So I started with the lower divisions, doing interviews and reporting all the results in the radio station. And I keep on going and going. Then I went to the newspapers, and finally I entered into the TV. And now I am with APA and with AIPS and doing so many things. But I don't know, it's been 25 years since I started, and I never left sports.
Now, Konnye, was having such a famous father, Victor Mora, an advantage or a disadvantage in your in your career as a sports journalist?
Well, I must say that it's been a very, very big advantage. However, my dad was a very, put it that way, complicated person. In the time when journalists wanted to interview him, it was a very, very complicated. So for some people, it was like, oh, maybe Konnye is the same as his father and her father, and she's gonna be a difficult person. But at the end, I don't know, maybe my way of being, and I don't know, like very close to people and charming and all that way, gave me very good experience, very good opportunities with my colleagues. So they received me very good. And at some point, it was a little bit difficult because my dad was famous when I was not even born. So people start asking me things about his career and everything. And I was like, okay, I really don't know. And I actually born without my dad because my parents were divorced a long time ago. So it was also difficult for me to keep on track, what he was doing. But being Victor's moral daughter gave me as well the courage to get a little bit more in deep of what he was doing. My mind is not so good remembering dates and times and marks and all that stuff. But at some point, I think that right now it's very, very, very useful to be his daughter, really.
Now, I remember reading about Victor Mora and admiring him from the pages of this Italian athletics magazine I had subscribed to as a teenager, and especially for his victories in the San Silvestre road races, but also because of this look he had. He had something special.
Yes, here in Colombia, many people call him El Indio. He's like the Indian Victor Mora, basically because his mustache is like very similar to the indigenous. The look he has similar to the indigenous. And also in a long time he was wearing, I don't know how to say that in English, but it's a very little thing here in the head, in the forehead, and
Headband.
it was giving, yes, exactly. So it gave him the look like, and also the long hair, because it's not like having a straight hair, but a little bit long. In that photo that you are showing, it's not too long, but before he used to have it a little bit longer.
Thank you, Konnye. That was fascinating. And you definitely do not have a difficult character. You're a very, very friendly person.
Oh, thank you.
So let's look now at what's been happening in the last 2 weeks before we come back to our guests, starting with road races, where the fortnight took off with a bang in Castellón as Ethiopia's Yalem Zerf smashed the 10 kilometers world record with 29 minutes and 14 seconds, taking a massive 24 seconds off the previous best. Yalem Zerf, whom we see here with Haile Gebrselassie after she won the Great Ethiopian Run on 23 January, had initially planned to attack the world record in Valencia on the 9th of January, but had been forced to withdraw after testing positive for COVID. In Castellón, she was well ahead of her rivals, led by Kenyan's duo of Vikoti Chepngeno, 30:14, and Mercy Cherono with 30:48. The men's race was a much closer affair, as Kenya's Ronald Kwemoi took the win in a course record of 27:18, beating compatriot Samuel Chebole Masai, also timed in 27:18, and Ethiopia's Tadesse Takele, 27:20. And on Sunday, 6 March, the Tokyo Marathon boasted top fields for both men and women, with Kenya's standout duo, double Olympic champion Eliud Kipchoge and marathon world record holder Brigid Kosgei, and they did not disappoint. Kipchoge won in 2 hours, 02:40, the fourth fastest mark of all times, ahead of compatriot Amos Kipruto, 2:03:13, and Ethiopia's Tamirat Tola, 2:04:14. The depth of the field was impressive, as was the case in the past in Tokyo, with 27 athletes breaking the 2 hours 10 barrier, including 20 from Japan. Brigid Kosgei was also dominant among the women in 2 hours 16:02, which is the third fastest mark of all time, well ahead of the Ethiopian duo of Ashete Bekele, 2:17:58, and Gotitom Gebrselassie, 2:18:18, and the top finishers all ran under 2:20. After wins in Chicago, London, and Berlin, Eliud Kipchoge has thus won a fourth different world marathon major and moved closer to his declared goal of winning in all 6 host cities. Now, New York and Boston are the ones left on his list. Now, Konnye, a really amazing athlete, don't you think so?
At this time, I think we are very privileged to see all these athletes that are just doing remarkable marks. And every time that I have the opportunity to see a competition, it's like you get more impressed of what the athletes are doing nowadays. Marks are really incredible.
Definitely. Then excellent results were also registered in the Roma Ostia half marathon on the same day, where Kenya's Sebastian Sawe moved to 6th on the world all-time list with 58:02, as he won by more than 1 minute from Ethiopia's Gemechu Dida and Kenya's Leonard Langat. And Irene Kimalis made it a Kenyan double with 66:03, ahead of Ethiopians Madena Mohamed and Shure Demise. And across the sea in Cannes, Uganda's Joshua Cheptegei had a good start to the year, clocking a world-leading 26:49 in the 10 kilometers, over 1 minute ahead of Eritrea's Habtom Samuel and compatriot Abel Sikowo. And finally, also on 6 March, South Africa's Stephen Mokoka, who had placed 5th in the marathon at the 2019 World Championships, set the 50 kilometers road race world record in Gbeherra with 2 hours 40:13. The distance was added last July to the list of events for which world records are now recognized. Now, an amazing record, albeit not by an elite athlete, was set by the USA's Betty Lindbergh on 27 February. Betty, who is 97 years old, set the over 95 world record over 5 kilometers with a time of 55:47, taking 30 minutes off the previous best. Betty Lindbergh caught the bud in 1987, aged 63, when she and her husband dropped off their daughter and her husband at the annual Peachtree Race in Atlanta. She saw all the runners and thought, I can do this. Since then, she ran Peachtree Race herself every year for a total of 31 times. And Lindbergh is not due to records, having set two already, the 800 meters over 90 world record when she was 91 in 2:16, and another one in the mile. And at 89, she had hip replacement surgery. She was back up and running within days and ran a 1-mile race the following month. Now, Konnye, are you as impressed as I am by the vitality and determination of this athlete?
That is definitely, I think, one of the most important things that an athlete has to have. Actually, recently I was reading some quotes from Kipchoge that he always says that he needs to smile all the time, and he needs to think that he can do the things before starting the race and while he's on the race. And I think it's very important. If you give negative thoughts to your mind, of course, things are not going to go as you are thinking, you know. And nowadays, because also the very high level athletes has the opportunity to count with psychologists and people who help them in also the mental health and everything. I think it's very interesting the way how they are taking all the path that is not only do exercise and wake up early to train every day, but also the mental issues in how they can go a little bit more, that mile extra, organizing everything related with a career. I think this is very, very important. And I think it's also one of the reasons why now all those marks and interesting numbers that we are seeing nowadays is getting, you know, after all this time.
Definitely. There's lots of different aspects to beating world records or personal better records. It's not just the physical, but the confidence, the mental, those are definitely impressive. So yes. Amazing Eliu and amazing Betty Lindbergh. Now, Betty had explained in an interview that she studied and uses race walk technique in her competitions. So let's move on to race walking. The World Race Walking World Cup was staged in Muscat, Oman on 4th and 5th of March. China dominated the first day of competition, winning all three events, the women's 20K and the under 20 10-kilometer races for both men and women, and also took all three team titles. In the women's 20K, Ma Zhenxia, the former world under 20 and under 18 champion, added another title to her collection, winning in 1:30:20 over world record holder Yang Jiayu, who clocked 1:31:44, while Peru claimed a historic bronze medal with Kimberly Garcia in 1:32:27. In the women's 20 under 20 10K race, it was a Chinese double, with Zhang Yuan winning in 47:48 over Zhang Jinyan with 48:03 and Finland's Heta Vekkola with 48:11. In the men's under 20 race, the top two medalists from last year's World Under 20 Championships were among the top protagonists, but both suffered heartbreak in the final stages. India's 2021 silver medalist Amit Kakri was leading when he was disqualified with just 100 meters to go, while Kenya's world junior champion Harry Stone Wanyonyi, who had also been in medal contention in the final stages, but he had to sit out a 1-minute penalty. The drama benefited China's Wang Hongren, who took gold in 44.06, ahead of Italy's Diego Giampaolo and China's Yu Zheng, both timed in 44.18, with the Italian taking silver. And on the second day, it was joy for Sweden, Ecuador, and Japan. In the men's 35 kilometers race, 2019 World Championships bronze medalist Perseus Karlström took an easy win in 2 hours 36:14 over the Spanish duo of Alvaro Martin, 2:36:54, and Miguel Lopez, 2:37:27, to Spain. In the women's 35-kilometer race, it was double joy for Ecuador. Glenda Morejon, who had won silver at the last edition of this event in the under-20 category, stepped up in distance and age group to win a resounding gold in her debut at 35 kilometers with an excellent 2:48:33 over China's Li Maokuo, 2:50:26, and Poland's Katarina Zdieblo, 2:51:48. Morejon's compatriots placed 5th, 6th, 7th, and 9th, adding team gold to individual success. The final race, the men's 20 kilometers, saw a Japanese 1-2 with 2:19 world champion Toshikazu Yamanishi beating compatriot Koki Ikeda, the Tokyo silver medalist, 1:22:52 to 1:23:29, while Kenya's Samuel Gathimba, who had been selected then dropped for the Tokyo Olympics, took a historic bronze for Kenya with 1:23:52. In spite of trusting the top two spots, Japan's third scoring athlete was far behind, allowing Ecuador to take team gold as its athletes placed 4th, 9th, and 12th, led by Brian Pintado, making it 3 gold medals for the South Americans. China topped the medal table. Former IAAF Council member Cesar Moreno, a great lover of our sport and expert in race walking, was in Oman with the Mexican team. Let's hear his analysis of the competition.
My dear friend Anna, it is my pleasure to share a few minutes with you and your audience to reflect on the race walking team championships in Muscat last week. I attended Muscat accompanying the Mexican delegation of only 7 athletes. I believe that all sport activities in the world have been affected by the terrible COVID pandemic. Therefore, the sports programs, which require a highly planned prior training, have been seriously affected. In Muscat, we noticed the absence of athletes who, due to lack of enough competitions, prefer to wait to have a better preparation for the World Championships in Eugene next July. A large number of participating countries were unable to enter full teams, such is the case of Mexico. The Sultanate of Oman had to make great efforts to prepare this event in a very short time and without any previous experience. Taking this into consideration, I think they did an excellent job. What caught my attention the most was the appearance of new countries in the medal table, such as Peru, Kenya, India, and particularly the performance of the Ecuadorian delegation, with the gold medal for Glenda Morejon and 2 more gold team medals in the women's 35 and men's 20. I believe that what has been achieved by the Ecuadorian athletes can be considered a fair tribute to the prestigious coach, father of the Ecuadorian race walking, Mr. Luis Chocho, who passed away just over a month ago. Luis Chocho is the one who discovered Jefferson Perez and brought him into race walking. And then after, until early 2022, he supervised the training of all Ecuadorian walkers. These young people in Muscat made Don Luis Chocho's dream come true. We have to recognize the hegemony of China, but in this occasion, 1/3 of the medals came from Latin countries. By the way, the winner of the men's 35K versus Karlstrom is half Mexican. Did you know that? He is the son of two great world-class race walkers, Siv Gustafsson and Enrique Vera from Mexico. Lastly, I would like to point out something that you probably noticed. The winners of the 35K race, which has been run for the first time in Muscat, were all 20K specialists, leaving the 50K specialists just behind. We already saw this coming because it is said among the marathoners and 50K walkers that this race really starts in kilometer 35. Best wishes to you, Anna, and to your audience. Bye.
Now, Konnye, South American women enjoyed historic success in Oman, especially in the women's 35K with gold for Glenda Morejon and an impressive team performances, but also Kimberly Garcia, bronze in the 20K. How important are these results to increase confidence and encourage more participation for South America's female athletes in race walking, a discipline where the women have not generally been as strong as the men?
Yes, exactly. As you say, here in the continent, it hasn't been very important results of women in these kind of competitions. And you know that every time that someone is doing something important and special, it helps the kids and the young that are just behind, like having them like their heroes. So I'm pretty sure that after the result of these two women, because they're young, but they're already just big ones. Many of the young athletes, I think, want to see how they can reach exactly the same as they are doing. That happens as well sometimes, in Guatemala with the athletes over there, and now there are so many young and kids doing the walking preparation. So especially because Ecuador and Peru are countries where the help of the government is not so big. And if you can see as well in some of the news from years before, especially Glenda has very, very difficulties to go on into her career. At some point, she actually decided to stop and say, okay, no more. I don't have funding from private companies. I don't have the help from the government, so I better stop because I cannot help myself with everything and money for traveling and all that stuff. So at some point she decided, she thought, I'm gonna stop because it's this or, getting money from my life to help my family and everything. But after all, well, thanks God for her and for her country. Money came from I don't know where and started helping her, and now she's a champion and a good example that things with perseverance and everything can be done. And for Kimberly, it's not very different situation, a little bit more easy. She has the opportunity as well to study and to go a little bit more forward. So I think there are big examples that constance, hard work and everything is it pays at the end. But of course, for kids and for young, and not only in Peru and Ecuador, I think in the rest of the continent, I know many of the athletes that comes behind are gonna be, I don't know, like having them as a start.
Thank you, Konnye. Now that is a fantastic story about perseverance from Glenda Morejon. And definitely she and Kimberly can be role models, as Mirna Ortiz was in Guatemala, and they can really help give confidence and show female athletes that, yes, I can do it. I'm going to train as hard as they did, and I'll go ahead.
Yes, that's right.
So let's go back now to indoor meets, where several top marks were registered in the US at the end of February. At the Southeastern Conference Championships in College Station, the most notable performance came from Abby Steiner, who was on 26 February clocked a sizzling 22:09 in the 200 meters, the fastest all-time mark behind Merlin Otte's 21:87 world indoor record, while Nigeria's Favor Ofili twice improved the 200-meter African indoor record she had set on 5th of February, clocking 22:61 in the heats and 22:46 in the final the following day for second place. Another indoor area record came in Boston the following day, where Britain's Josh Kerr, the 800-meter bronze medalist in Tokyo, won the mile in a European record of 3:48.87, which brings him to number 3 on the all-time lists, behind Yomif Kejelcha and Hisham El Gerouj back in 97. Most countries held their national indoor championships on 27 and 28 February weekend as athletes chased the last qualifying spots for the World Indoor Championships. Among the most impressive results from the US Championships was Ryan Krauser's 22 meters 51 in shot put, Grant Holloway's 7:37 in the 60 hurdles, and Christian Coleman for 6:45 over 60. The World Indoor Tour concluded with the final gold event in Madrid on the 2nd of March. The highlight there came from Venezuela's Yulimar Rojas, who landed at 15:41 in the triple, the second longest jump ever, with several very long fouls. Gudaf Segai had another excellent 1,500-meter race, winning in 3:57.38, the fifth fastest of all time. And on the men's side, top marks came from Selemon Barega in the 3,000 with 7:34.03 and Konrad Bukowiecki with 21.91 in the shot put. World Indoor Tour winners were thus finalized after the last gold level event in Madrid. And here they are. The winners in the 11 events, which are rotated every year, earned wildcards to the World Indoors, and in addition to a $10,000 bonus. Several countries held their national championships later than most on the following weekend, the 5th and 6th of March. And the most notable result came at the Polish Championships, where Ewa Swoboda consolidated her world lead with an impressive 6:99 at 60 meters. Swoboda, who also holds the second, third, and equal fourth best marks this season, became the 10th athlete and only the third European to break 7 seconds, the first athlete since 2018 and only the sixth since 2000 to do so. Notable results from other indoor meets include another leg of the Perche Elite Tour in Rouen on 5 March, where the USA's Chris Nielsen further improved his area record to 6 meters 05, equaling the then world lead by Mondo Duplantis. But 2 days later, at the silver level World Tour meet in Belgrade on 7th March, in the arena that will host the World Indoors less than 2 weeks later, the Swede responded in impressive fashion, setting a world indoor record of 6 meters 19. Duplantis, who only started jumping at 5:61 as his rivals were exiting the competition, had a clean sheet till the world record height, which he cleared on the 3rd attempt. It was the Swede's 51st attempt at the world record height, and it was the good one. It allows Mondo Duplantis to chalk up his 3rd world indoor record after he had jumped 6 meters 17 and 6:18 in back-to-back weekends back in February 2020, just before the global pandemic ground sport to a halt. Now, Konnye, you're now working for the website of the Association of Pan-American Athletics. Tell us, what is it like to keep up with athletics news in such a large area and with so many talented athletes?
Well, Anna, it's very difficult, really, especially because I've been a sport journalist covering different sports during all my 3 years as a journalist. So I wasn't being like a specialized in athletics. I knew about it and a lot and covering many events, but getting into the athletics world and with so many competitions around the world, so many events and categories and all that stuff, it's been really complicated, not impossible, but really demand a lot of work. I don't know, like following all these great athletes and the ones that are not so great, because we cannot just focus on the famous and the very important athletes, but checking the under 20, under 15 categories, the competitions that are in the small towns in different countries. So all that is taking a lot of time. I have a colleague who is in Venezuela, Ricardo Gomez, and he also helps me a lot. He's a very, very talented and very into the athletics. You know him and you know how passionate he is about athletics. So I've been learning a lot from him. A part of the work that I'm doing, searching online, getting into the stories of the athlete, just to have a little bit more information at the time that I'm writing, not just to focus on the marks and times and records and that. So I like to be a little bit more wide and learn how this athlete has been getting into the high level. So it's not so easy. I think as well how complicated this is, and but I've been absolutely happy since I started in October last year, because it gives me the opportunity to open my mind to a different sport, different categories. Normally here in Colombia, we were like more into for example, marathon, because we have marathon runners just doing good things, or maybe when Catherine Ibarwen was the queen of the triple jump, so everyone knew about triple jump. But for example, shot put, that we don't have good athletes on that, or maybe, I don't know, the 3,000 meters, or categories that are not very famous here, we tend to leave it apart, So now that I'm with APA, I need to get the information and collect from every single competition, every single event, and I'm really happy because my knowledge about athletics is growing so fast in the last 5 months. Really good.
And I'm sure you and Ricardo make a fantastic team.
Oh, he is absolutely lovely, and he's a person who is all the time writing, sending information, and every single day he sent me, "Hey Konnye, I sent you 2 articles. Hey Konnye, I'm gonna check this, I'm gonna check that." So it's good because he keeps me as well moving, because I cannot be behind him.
Now, Konnye, 2022 is still young, but there have been many excellent results on the roads and in stadia. Tell us, who are the athletes that have impressed you the most in these first months?
Well, since, as I told you before, I'm getting a little bit more into this, but there are 2 athletes that you mentioned before, the Americans, because yes, actually I have to be into the American continent athletes, but I think Ryan Crozier and Christian Coleman, in these 2 events, they have done really fantastic performances. So I don't know, I cannot remember Crozier. I don't know. he's having the record or not losing competition since, I don't know, like 3 years or something like that. I cannot remember my head, but every time he's improving as well, and I think we can expect a lot from him. Christian is doing good results and good timing, so I think as well it's gonna be two guys in the competitions that we can see, that we can just keep on track. Also, Jolimar Rojas, I'm pretty sure many people are going to be chasing her for news and for interviews and everything, because apart that she is a very charming woman, I'm pretty sure she's going to break more records this year. She started as well competing in the long jump, a part of course, her favorite, the triple one, but marks are being really, really, really good for her. So I'm pretty sure she's gonna do I don't know, amazing season for this 2022. So for the Americas, I think it's very important to follow these guys. And well, I need to go a little bit more in deep to check which other athletes are gonna be in the panorama. In athletics, more the road. I'm not getting into that much the last 2 months, more or less. So I don't want to go and say any name just to be to be okay with you, but. I don't know. I hope as well that the Colombian athletes are going to be a little bit more, pushing more to get good results. But we are having a good team now for races, road races, which I think we are gonna have good results as well. Maybe you are gonna be talking about these Colombian runners very soon.
I hope so, and I hope to come back very soon.
Yes, okay.
Thank you, Konnye. Let's check now what's been happening in cross country, as the World Cross Country Tour concluded with the last 2 gold events. In Albufeira, Portugal, on the 27th of February, victory in a close women's race went to Eritrea's Rahel Daniel, just ahead of Ethiopia's Likina Amebao and Kenya's Lucy Mawiya. In the women's race, Burundian Rodrigue Kwizera took another win over Kenya's Benson Kiplangat and Uganda's Rogers Kibet. And in the final leg in Serradilla, Cáceres in Spain on the 6th of March, victory went to Turkey's Yasemin Khan in the women's race in a tight finish over Eva Cherono of Kenya, with Ethiopia's Likina Ameba well behind in third. And in the men's race, with Kwizera absent, another Burundian, Thierry Ndukumwenayo, took a clear win over Eritreans Aaron Kifle and Yemane Haile Selassie. Now, Rodrigue Kwizera topped the final men's cross-country standings over Ethiopia's Nibrek Melak, Eritrea's Aaron Kifle, and the Ugandan trio of Rogers Kibet, Thomas Ayeko, and Joel Ayeko. In the women's standings, Rahel Daniel was the winner, ahead of Kenyans Lucy Mawiya and Beatrice Chebet, followed by Likina Meba, Margaret Chelimo Kipkemboi, and Doishu Tefu. And as we're talking about cross-country, I'd like to highlight a really extreme and epic run, literally across the country. German Silva of Mexico, a silver medalist in the half marathon world championships in 1994, and twice winner of the New York Marathon in 94 and 95, turned 54 years old on 9 January, and he celebrated his birthday in the middle of his project to run diagonally across Mexico from northeast to southwest to unite Mexico in his journey among its diverse geography, its culture, and its people. Silva set off on the 2nd of November from Tijuana at the U.S. frontier in the northeast and ran across Mexico diagonally for 5,410 kilometers on trails across deserts, parks, beaches, mountains, and archaeological sites, completing his journey on the beach in Quintana Roo State near Cancun on the 25th of February. He took only 10 days rest in total, once every 10 or 12 days. On all other 107 days, he was running 40 to 50 kilometers a day. Let's hear about this epic run from Mexican journalist Katy Lopez.
Hello, Ana. Hello, friends from Love Athletics. This is Katia Lopez, a Mexican journalist, and I would like to share with you this amazing story. You probably remember the name of Germán Silva, the long-distance runner who won 2 times the New York City Marathon in the 90s. Well, he has accomplished an amazing challenge by running from north to south the whole country of Mexico. He started November 2nd in Tijuana, Baja California, very close to San Diego, California, in the United States, and ended in February 22nd in Tulum, Quintana Roo, close to the Central American countries of Belize and Guatemala. It took like 100 days. He ran 5,060 kilometers, which means he had an average of 50 kilometers per day. So it means that he ran something like 120 marathons in a few more than 3 months. But why he did this? Well, I spoke with him and I would like to share with you his words about this.
Mi único objetivo era comprobar que se podía hacer físicamente, ¿no? Algo que la gente dice que no. Y confirmar que el cuerpo humano es una máquina perfecta para correr. Y después también todo el recorrer México de norte a sur con la gente, que es lo más padre de todo el proyecto. O sea, no te imaginas que cada etapa te vas encontrando con gente y el poder decir, yo no llevo prisa, no voy compitiendo contra nadie, paro el reloj y me paro y platico con las personas, ¿no? Eso era lo padre.
In 100 days, Germán ran in desert, in beach, in forest, and in our iconic place, Barrancas del Cobre in Chihuahua, where lives one of our pre-Hispanic cultures, the Rarámuris, which are one of the most important ancient cultures that have running as part of his traditions. Well, now Germán wants to do a documentary about this experience, but I think one of the most important messages to the world by doing this is that dreams have no limits and have no age. Germán is now 54 years old and still have running in his heart and in his every single day of training. Well, I guess that's it. I hope you enjoy this story and I hope to see you soon. Keep loving athletics.
Amazing, Germán Silva. Finally, let's take a look at outdoor track events. The outdoor season has been going strong, of course, in the southern hemisphere, but also started now in the northern one. And the USA's Grant Fisher started outdoors just as he had finished with an area record. After his continental indoor best over 5,000 meters in Boston only a month ago, Fisher set another area record at 10,000 meters outdoor this time in California's San Juan Capistrano, clocking 26:33:84. And Australia's Jack Rayner set an Oceania record of 27 minutes, 15 seconds, and 35 in the same race. Now, Konnye, 22, as we saw, has already been an amazing year for Pan American athletics with multiple NACAC and South American records in long distances, on the track, on the roads, in pole vault, shot put, hurdles, and of course, very strong sprints. With such a busy year, what are your expectations from the athletes of the America?
Well, that is a very difficult question, Anna, because we have to be a little bit, with the heads on the soil, and in terms of worldwide athletics, we know that the Africans are, far better than many of the athletes here. Not saying that the ones here are bad athletes, don't take me wrong, but of course we can see in some areas of the athletics a very big gap, So I hope that this year most of the athletes from the Americas can, like go and reach the things that the Africans are doing, especially in long distance events, which are maybe the ones that we are very good as well, but we need a little bit more, I don't know, maybe competitions, more races where they can participate and they can get more experience as well and get better timing in their races. Apart of that, I think we are, just maybe not too good in terms of results, but I'm very confident that with the young competition that we are going to have, the Youth World Championship, this is going to give very, very interesting performances. And from there, we have to go and get these young and kids and prepare them very well in order for them to get a good performances in the time that they are growing up and be at the possibilities to represent their countries in a worldwide events. So not easy. I know it's not easy. We cannot hide the sun with one finger, like we said here in Colombia. We have to be honest on what we have. But the results that we are seeing in these first 3 months of the year gives me the idea that we are going to have a good performances from our athletes. And I hope they are going to, continue with these good results and beat all the Africans and the Europeans that are having as well good season so far.
And you mentioned Cali. That is going to be a very interesting event. And already the atmosphere and the World Under-18 Championships held there was fantastic. And having this other opportunity to host a major world championship for age categories is going to be really good for athletics in Colombia.
Exactly, and I'm very happy. I'm very, very proud that we have a good stadium, a good race arena that is going to receive so many athletes all around the world, and that we have this here only like less than an hour flight from my city, so I will have the opportunity to be there, as I had the opportunity to be in the Pan American games, the Youth Pan American Games as well, in the athletics competitions. So we have a good scenario, we have a good venue, and it's very interesting because I never seen so many events of the same sport being in the same place as here in Cali. So it's going to be a good experience as well. And it gives as well a good opportunity for the athletes, the young athletes in the area, in the region, to be able to come and to compete and to get a good experience as well, as I was mentioning before. And we are going to have as well the Pan American Youth, if I'm not wrong, is going to be in Brazil. So we are going to have a good calendar, really.
Definitely. Thank you, Konnye. Now, finally, we cannot ignore what is currently happening in Ukraine as Russian troops continue to advance and close in on the major cities of Kiev, Kharkiv, Odessa, and Mariupol. Athletes and federations are expressing their support for Ukraine and opposition to the war, as we see in this picture of Konrad Bukowiecki, taken at the Madrid indoor meeting by Jiro Mochizuki, one of the top athletics photographers. As a consequence of the war, all Russian and Belarusian athletes have now been banned from competition by many top international federations, including athletics. Is this right? Until only a few months ago, sport loudly proclaimed its independence from politics and even handed out sanctions and fines to athletes who expressed support for other countries under aggression. Sports should be the place where people can share their passion, irrespective of political, racial, and religious differences, on common ground and with the same rules for everybody. So we express our deepest sympathy and support for all the people affected by the conflict in Ukraine and other conflicts across the world. Now, more sad news as another former champion has left us. Australia's John Landy passed away on 24th of February, aged 91. Landy had had a disappointing showing in the 52 Olympics at 5,000, but is best known for becoming the second man to run the mile under 4 minutes in 1954, breaking the world record set by pioneer Roger Bannister just 6 weeks earlier, and also setting the world 1,500 meter record in passing. Bannister and Landy faced off later that year at the Commonwealth Games in a race that was billed the race of the century, or the miracle race, and was followed on the radio by 100 million people. Landy, who had injured his foot by treading on a photographer's discarded flash globe, had to settle for silver as Bannister overtook him in the final bend. In 1956, after a grueling US tour to promote the Melbourne Olympics, Landy had to settle for bronze in the Olympic 1,500 meter final as Ireland's Rod Delaney, to whom Landy had famously given advice, took gold. Rest in peace, John Landy. Happy news, on the other hand, for US long jumper Herb Douglas, who celebrated his 100th birthday on 6 March. Douglas won a bronze medal in long jump at the 1948 Olympics and was 4 times NCAA champion in the long jump and 1 times NCAA champion in the 100 yards. He also achieved success in his post-athletic career, becoming one of the very first African-American vice president of a major North American company. He remained attached to the sport and founded the Jesse Owen International Trophy and the Jesse Owen Global Award for Peace. Congratulations for an amazing life, Herb Douglas. And more happy news for Renaud Lavillenie, as his wife, Anaïs, gave birth to their second child, a boy this time, on the 27th of February. Finally, let's take a look at the top events in the coming weeks as we reach the end of our show. Today and tomorrow, 12 March, the NCAA Indoor Championships take place in Alabama. On the 12th and 13th of March in Leira, Portugal, the European Throwing Cup is taking place. But of course, the big one is the World Indoor Championships, which will be held on 18 to 20 March in Belgrade. So we're now at the end of the show. It was great having Konnye with us.
Anna, for me, it was a big pleasure. I'm really sorry as well for my English. Normally, I write in English, but I don't speak so much and so long. I hope I didn't make a big mistakes. But thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be here. And well, from here, from Colombia and in the whole continent with APA, we will continue working with the athletics. So anything that you guys need from here, just, I am here to.
Thank you, Konnye. And your English is great. And absolutely no worries about that. It was great seeing you
Thank
again.
You very much and all the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Konnye. Thank you all for watching. Now, next week, we'll be presenting a special Athletics History Live show on indoor competitions, just as the World Indoor Championship starts in Belgrade. So stay tuned. And see you in 2 weeks on Love Athletics to look together at the highlights, comments, and analysis of what's been happening in our sport over the past fortnight. Thank you. Bye-bye.